Hi everybody! I have a really awesome book. It's called The Art Lesson. And it's written by Tommy DePaula. Again, one name. So that means he did both the pictures and the words. And in this case, you're going to find that this guy, Tommy DePaula, is this guy. He's actually writing about himself growing up or learning when he was little to grow up and be an artist, an illustrator. So it's a true story. And I know that it's not photographs. And the reason why is because he is an illustrator. So he drew these pictures to explain how he became an artist. So we're going to hear the story about Tommy DePaula and how he became an artist. The Art Lesson. And here is the title page. Tommy knew he wanted to be an artist when he grew up. He drew pictures everywhere he went. It was his favorite thing to do. I can think of a few of you who love drawing, where I could just give you paper and for hours you would draw if I let you, right? His friends had favorite things to do too. And I like this because everyone has their strengths. And his friends were just like that. They all had their own strengths. Let's look at this. So Jack collected all kinds of turtles. That was his thing. Herbie made huge cities in his sandbox. Jeannie, Tommy's best friend, could do cartwheels and stand on her head. But Tommy drew and drew and drew. Look, he drew pictures of his friends too. His twin cousins, who were already grown up, were in art school learning to be real artists. They told him not to copy and to practice, practice, practice. So he did. Tommy put his pictures up on the walls of his half of the bedroom. So you can see his little sign that says Tommy's side is right over here because he shared it with a sibling. And look, he drew pictures of his cousins and birds and flowers and trees. He put all his pictures up on the wall. His mom put them up all around the house. That's nice to show your kids' work. Makes them feel really good. His dad took them to the barber shop where he worked. Look, he put them up on the mirror so when people were getting their hair cut by his dad, they could look at his pictures. Tommy's pictures. Tom and Nana, Tommy's Irish grandfather and grandmother, had his pictures in their grocery store. Well, that's so friendly that they're putting up Tommy's pictures all over the place, so everyone's really celebrating his love for drawing. Nana Fall River, his Italian grandmother, put one in a special frame on the table next to the photograph of Aunt Chloe in her wedding dress. So there's the very special old picture, the photograph, and there is Tommy DePaula's drawing. I love how they're all loving his work. Once, Tommy took a flashlight and a pencil under the covers and drew pictures on his sheets. But when his mom changed the sheets on Monday and found them, she said, "No more drawing on the sheets, Tommy." That wasn't really a good choice. If you like to draw, where should you draw? Yeah, on the paper, not on sheets. His mom and dad were having a new house built, so Tommy drew pictures of what it would look like when it was finished. When the walls were up, one of the carpenters gave Tommy a bright piece of blue chalk. Tommy took the chalk and drew beautiful pictures all over the unfinished walls. But when the painters came, his dad said, "That's it, Tommy. No more drawing on the walls." So they did let him at first. He did get permission to draw on the walls because they were going to start knocking them down or repainting to build the new house. But if you don't have permission to draw on the walls, should you draw on the walls? Where should you draw? It's best. It's best. Tommy couldn't wait to go to kindergarten. Like you. His brother Joe told him there was a real art teacher who came to school to give art lessons. Boy, I wish we had that. When do we have our art lessons? Tommy asked the kindergarten teacher. Oh, you won't have your art lessons until next year, said Miss Bird, but we are going to paint pictures tomorrow. Well, that's not the same as having your own art teacher, is it? I wonder if he'll make the best of it. It wasn't much fun. The paint was awful and the paper got all wrinkly. Miss Bird made the paint by pouring different colored powders into different jars and mixing them with water. The paint didn't stick to the paper very well, and it cracked. That's the way they used to have paint. Luckily now we have some pretty nice paint to paint with, right? We're lucky. If it was windy when Tommy carried his picture home, the paint blew right off the paper. Oh my gosh, look, it's just totally disintegrating into the air. That's no fun. At least you get more than one piece of paper in kindergarten, his brother Joe said. When the art teacher comes, you only get one piece. That's interesting. Tommy knew that the art teacher came to the school every other Wednesday. He could tell she was an artist because she wore a blue smock over her dress and she always carried a big box of thick colored chalks. Boy, she really looks like an art teacher, doesn't she? Once Tommy and Jeannie looked at the drawings that were hung up in the hallway. They were done by the first graders. Your pictures are much better, Jeannie told Tommy. Next year, when we have real art lessons, you'll be the best one. Tommy could hardly wait. He practiced all summer. Then, on his birthday, which was right after school began, his mom and dad gave him a box of 64 Crayola crayons. Regular boxes of crayons had red, orange, yellow, green, blue, violet, brown, and black. This box had so many other colors: blue, violet, turquoise, red, orange, pink, and even gold, silver, and copper. Class, said Miss Landers, the first grade teacher, next month the art teacher will come to our room, so on Monday, instead of singing, we will practice using our crayons. She was very no-nonsense teacher. On Monday, Tommy brought his 64 crayons to school. Miss Landers was not pleased. Everyone must use the same crayons, she said. School crayons. School crayons only had the same old 8 colors. As Miss Landers passed them out to the class, she said, "These crayons are school property, so do not break them, peel off the paper, or wear down the points." How do you not wear down the points when you're coloring? I don't get that. Anyway. How am I supposed to practice being an artist with school crayons? Tommy asked Jack and Herbie. That's enough, Tommy, Miss Landers said, and I want you to take those birthday crayons home with you and leave them there. And Joe is right. They only got one piece of paper. Miss Landers seems a little harsh, doesn't she? Finally, the day of the art lesson came. Tommy could hardly sleep that night. The next morning, he hid the box of 64 Crayola crayons under his sweater and went off to school. He was ready. Didn't Miss Landers say not to bring those crayons to school? What do you think is going to happen? The classroom door opened, and in walked the art teacher. Miss Landers said, "Class, this is Mrs. Bowers, the art teacher. Patty, who is our paper monitor this week, will give out one piece of paper to each of you. And remember, don't ruin it, because it is the only piece you'll get. Now, pay attention to Mrs. Bowers." Class, Mrs. Bowers began, because Thanksgiving is not too far away, we will learn to draw a pilgrim man, a pilgrim woman, and a turkey. Watch carefully and copy me. Copy? Copy? Tommy knew that real artists didn't copy. This was terrible. This was supposed to be a real art lesson. He folded his arms and just sat there. Now, what's the matter? Miss Landers asked. Tommy looked past her and spoke right to Mrs. Bowers. I think she seemed a little more reasonable. I'm going to be an artist when I grow up. And my cousins told me that real artists don't copy. And besides, Miss Landers won't let me use my 64 Crayola crayons. I wonder what she's going to say. Well, Mrs. Bowers said. What are we going to do? She turned to Miss Landers and they whispered together. Mrs. Landers nodded. Now, Tommy, Mrs. Bowers said, it wouldn't be fair to let you do something different from the rest of the class, but I have an idea. If you draw the Pilgrim Man and Pilgrim Woman and the turkey, and if there's any time left, I'll give you another piece of paper, and you can do your own picture with your own crayons. Can you do that? I'll try, Tommy said with a big smile. Yay! And he did. And he did. Look at what he did for his free draw. Who is that he drew? I think he likes Mrs. Bowers. Do you? And he still does. Look at that. And today, he's a grown-up, and he's a real artist and a real illustrator, just like you all are training to be. So if you practice and practice and practice, you can be like Tommy DePaola one day. Such a special book. I want to read you the dedication, as at the beginning. Tommy DePaola said, "This is for Rose Mulligan, my 5th grade teacher, who always gave me more than one piece of paper. And of course, Beulah Bowers, the best art teacher any child could have." Oh. The Art Lesson by Tommy DePaola. Will you go and draw a picture now?